Well, hello again, Bigger Fish Nation. It is I, Luke Davis, and here with another Big Fish recommendation. So today, I'm going to be talking about Avatar. Oh, okay, not that. Oh, that's weird. I'm going to be talking about The Last Airbender. No, not that piece of garbage. Oh, that's awful. I'm going to be talking about Avatar the Last Airbender, but not specifically the TV show, because we all know the TV show is one of the greatest TV shows ever made, probably the best modern American anime, and it's such a great story. The characters are amazing. There's so many great twists and turns, and Zuko, probably one of my favorite characters of all time. His development from season 1 to where he's just flat out evil to season 3 where he's like on the side to get beautiful. But anyways, we're not talking about the show, but the show is amazing. We're going to be talking about a tie-in comic that is called Avatar the Last Airbender, The Search. So, what is the one big question coming out of Avatar the Last Airbender, the show? Where is Zuko's mom? The whole show, they hint at that she has this big tragic past, but they never hint at it. And even in the last episode, Zuko talks to his dad. He's like, "Hey, Dad, whatever happened to Mom?" And then he just kind of smiles and then cut. You're like, well, thanks, creators, Michael and Brian. You know, you're really helping out to itch my nerve. And then even in season 1 of Korra, one of Tenzin's kids runs up to Katara's like, "Hey, what happened to Zuko's mom?" And she's like, "That's a story for another time." You're like, thanks, show. And so this is the comic that explains what happens to Zuko's mom. This is why I'm going to do a recommendation for it, because I think it's a very fascinating story, and it's just weird that it's in a comic that I don't think many people have read. I've only read it because I'm a nerd and I have no life.
Not lame!
So I'm going to help you out. That way you guys can read it and find out for yourselves. Okay, so Avatar, my trusty phone, Avatar, Last Airbender, The Search, was written by Jean Yang. Now, I don't know anything about comics, so maybe she has a good track record. I'll probably look it up and put like a little graphic right here, you know. So, it follows, our main characters. You have Aang, Katara, Sokka, Zuko. Can I just say that the characters are perfectly written in this comic? Aang acts just like Aang. Sokka has so many great one-liners, or like, cheesy one-liners that shouldn't be funny, but are funny. Katara's still the mom, but you love her. Zuko's still Zuko, Zuko has a lot of good moments with Azula, trying to figure out, hey, we're siblings, even though we hate each other, we should still be friends, or we should still, love each other, because, we're siblings. It's all great. There's only one aspect of the characters that I don't like, is that every time Aang and Katara are acting lovey-dovey, it's so cringy, because they're like, I don't know, he's 12 or 14, and she's 16, and they're like, "Oh, sweetie," and irks me because they're just so young. I'm like, okay, they're acting like they're 25. They're not, they're actually 14. Other than that, characters written great. So, what this comic is about is, it starts off with Zuko and the gang. They're in this meeting and they're talking about how important family is or something. And it kind of strikes a chord with Zuko where he's like, to me, family isn't that important because all my family is horrible besides my Uncle Iroh. Everyone else is just a horrible human being. My dad was the horrible dictator. My sister's freaking nuts. And so it kind of strikes as I want to know about my mother. I want to know the good side of my family. And so it starts with him going to talk to his dad and his sister. And Azula has found this letter that she thinks proves that she should be Fire Lord. Because if you remember at the end of season 3 of Avatar, that Azula, she's gone crazy. She thinks that her mom's haunting her, and that her mom doesn't want her to have the throne, and all this crazy stuff, and she went nuts over this. And so she thinks she's found this letter that proves that Zuko isn't Fire Lord, and that she should be Fire Lord, and that they're both on this quest to find their mother to see if it's true. That way it validates Azula's point, and also Zuko wants to know what happened to his mother. And so they have to take Azula on the team, on the journey with Aang, Katara, Sokka, and it creates this big tension, and it's actually a lot of fun because Azula is a great villain. She's super evil, but there's episodes like The Beach where she's kind of humanized. And one thing I really liked is they utilized flashbacks really well. They flash back to Ursa, Zuko and Azula's mom, and her journey throughout her from being a peasant to becoming the Fire Lord's wife. And this is done really well, and you always get enough information to bring you to the next bit. And let me say, I think at the end of issue 1, there's this really big twist that really changes the way you think about Avatar the Last Airbender. And you're like, is that true? Holy poop. What? And I say that it just hooks you and you want to keep reading. And then issue 2 delves into that more. And then issue 3 is good, but I feel like the conclusion was a little like too tidy up. Okay, everything's good. Yay. But in the end, it's still a good story, and you do from the flashbacks and from the journey that all these characters go on. The main gang, minus Toph's doing her metal bending. You really learn how tragic of a tale Ursa's story is, and how luckily it ended up being. It actually ends up pretty good for him. And it's really a quest about the importance of family and how important family is to us, even when we have like these big conflicts between like Zuko has and his family, and just how it's always important to be there even when they're not making the right choices. And so I think that's a very important lesson for everyone to hear. And I think this comic is really well done, despite the fact that I think part 3, because there's 3 parts to it, it might be a little too clean, a little too tidy-uppy, but just how dark it goes in some of the flashbacks and how dramatic it is and how they pace out giving you information, keeping you intrigued, it's definitely worth a read, and it does answer the question, what happened to Zuko's mom? So I give this a big thumbs up. If you like Avatar Last Airbender, go read this, because it's a question that everyone's been itching to know. And so please, go check out Avatar Last Airbender, The Search. This has been Big Fish Recommendations. Peace out.